If you say time to cringe, then it's time to cringe. The Insane World of Obese Disney Adults by Sydney Watson. I know that Disney adults are cringe. We know that Disney adults are cringe. Disney adults have always been cringe. I hate this so much, it annihilates the last brain cells I've got. Miss Louisiana. Well, we'll jump in. Well, this is gonna be cringe as hell.
Have you been dying to ride Dragon Racers Rally at Universal's Epic Universe, but you weren't sure if you'd
That ride is about to die. Yes.
I feel like I ask this question in most videos, but what am I watching here? Hi, my name is Sydney, welcome back to hell. And as per usual, before we launch in, today's video is sponsored by Cookunity. So
By the way, we're not back to hell. This is hell. We've already been in hell. We live in it. What do you mean, welcome back to hell? Hell is all around.
I have been on the internet for a very, very, very long time. And the longer that I'm here, the more that I see things that both alarm and confuse me. And the subject of today's video is no exception. I've had my head in a lot of obesity-based topics over the last little while, just because, like, when you find one story, it leads you down the rabbit hole. So, I don't know, expect some more obesity on this channel in the coming...
When your main content turns into fat people. But since not always, once upon a time, Disney was a symbol of dream and success, but since somewhere before the year 2000, Disney fallen harder than the Roman Empire considered Tarzan a lost success. Sorry in advance for recommending this. I'm not surprised. Disney, go ahead, do it. Turn Tarzan into a black man. I'm waiting. Yeah, go ahead. Show some balls. Do it. Turn the man that lives with monkeys into a black guy. Bro, this reminds me of something I'm trying too hard to forget. The hell thingy. You're not forgetting anything. It will be ingrained into your brain and you will always remember it.
Weeks? Not from me, though. I go to the gym, where I sit in the corner and then cry about my 5-kilo weights. Now, recently, I learned that there is a group of women called the plus-sized park hoppers. Some of you may or may not.
That sounds like prostitutes that go to different parks. I'm sorry. This sounds like fat women going to different amusement parks to have sex. I'm sorry. That's what it sounds like.
Have heard about them already because they've been around for a little while. This is a group of 5 women from Massachusetts here in the US who range in clothing sizes from 2XL to 5XL. Their words, guys, not mine.
Hey everyone, we're plus-size park hoppers, and we range in sizes from 2X to 5X. Make sure you like this video and follow us for more plus-size Disney tips and tricks.
These ladies go to Disney theme parks every other month to report on what is and isn't accessible to them. Yes, you heard that correctly. Every other month. Yeah, I am not kidding. The whole thing here is going to theme parks and resorts, and they're reporting.
They're essentially just making reviews if things are fat friendly or not. Urshifu is better, Rapid Strike or Single Strike. I have no idea. I've never used Urshifu, but I know one of those was definitely better. I don't know which one it was though.
Back about not being able to fit into chairs. When I tell you I am tired. These women tell you if you can fit onto specific rides, like if you can get the little bar thing to sit across your belly. Okay.
These seats are molded with a divider that goes between your legs. The safety mechanism is an over-the-shoulder chest restraint that does need to get to a certain position to lock. Ashley wears a size 5X and unfortunately was not able to get the green light for this ride.
Which types of obesity scooters to use and if you can get them?
Disney World vacations can require a lot of walking, which can be painful and might put a damper on your vacation.
I see hippos, Mudeng. That's offensive to Mudeng. That's not, that is... Bro, is this cringe? Bro, that is so cringe as someone who did the cruise last year. I don't want to do it again. Okay. This is so cringe, bro. This is so cringe. I'd be ashamed of myself. I'll be honest. I would be full of shame. I have been full of shame. I've been fat. Not this fat, but fat enough.
For longer trips, one of us always rents a scooter, and she prefers to rent through Gold Mobility.
Which is the best anti-chafing leg rub to use? I just learned this is a thing.
So we really like this Dr. Frederick's Better Body Balm. You just rub it on your thighs and it helps stop the friction.
I've never had this problem, thankfully. But
Never had this problem either. Like, dude, my god, her butt is bigger than my car. Yep, fat acceptance 101. Very true. Very true. Very true. These people are dead. We're gonna hear reports of these people like 2 or 3 years passing away.
it's good to know the brand to use in case I ever do. Thank you. They reference where you can park your car if you want to avoid walking. They explain what this red rash on your leg might be and say that it's from exercise, but in reality it's called vasculitis and it would probably go away if you lost some weight, and much, much more. So obviously, if you have been around this channel for any length of time, you will know that I am not a fan of how people have gotten fatter and fatter as the years have gone on. And with this,
eventually, we'll all look like the people from WALL-E. Even our babies will look like the people from WALL-E. We'll all look like the people from WALL-E. Anyways.
This issue specifically with these people specifically, I don't want to make fun of them just because they're fat people on the internet doing their thing and having fun. But I do want to talk about them because, like, for one, Disney adults are just incredibly bizarre to me, all on their own. Going to Disney this regularly and making your entire personality a company that has been historically enjoyed by children is something I don't quite understand. I'm prepared to admit that I am a Disney tourist. I like to watch the cartoons sometimes and watch them to comment on this channel about how bad the remakes are. But going to Disneyland or Disney World 1,000 times a year? Really? I don't know, man, that just feels like a really expensive way of saying I'm not in a relationship. But secondarily, and honestly probably more importantly, I'm troubled by the continued effort to normalize being this huge in life and giving people tips and tricks to exist like this. Not to mention essentially demanding Disney make
Snorlax is afraid. Snorlax is afraid of these women. I'm gonna say it. Snorlax is afraid of these women. And Luigi.
efforts to accommodate your obesity, going to a place where you know you can't fit onto any of the rides or very few of the rides, and it's actually probably unsafe if you do so, while also eating insane amounts of food and insanely overpriced food, and somehow trying to act like all of this is normal. It really, really isn't. In case that wasn't obvious. Editor Sydney from the future here, because I forgot to say this when I was recording, but it probably seems like a random ironic coincidence that Cook Unity is the sponsor for this video, but I actually did it deliberately, because as long as we're talking about not so great choices, I want to tell you about an actual good one. Look, I'm gonna level with you all. Your girl has tried basically every meal service under the sun.
Learn cooking. Learn about food. Learn about how to keep yourself healthy. This isn't that hard. Of course, they're Americans. Well, even here in Germany, about 60% of women are overweight. Why, Luigi? Have you seen the Luigi hat? What is this? Why is that a thing? Why are people not able... For my generation, I barely know a person that barely knows how to put something into an oven. Okay.
Because I'm not that great at cooking. So while I respect cooking, sometimes you just don't have the time, sometimes you don't have the energy, and sometimes you just want something healthy that's easy. So when Cook Unity reached out,
That's a lie. You're just lazy fuck. I'm gonna say it. You can meal prep for multiple days. Silence mortal. I don't want to hear any excuses.
I was like, okay, show me what you got. Immediately, I was really impressed with their delivery, which probably seems really little, but to me makes a big difference because I have had food like this delivered that has arrived in boxes that have been destroyed and leaking. The food is no good, but in this case, they use sustainable bags, which are so cute, and the food actually arrived cold and completely intact, and it's not just a once-off because I've had multiple deliveries now. Cook Unity's meals are put together by actual actual chefs. So what's cool is that the instructions are based on what's fast, so if you're on the go, or what the chef themselves recommends. So far, my favorite meals have been made by Chef David Adan, like this little shrimp pasta dish and these little fish tacos. He also made a Mediterranean salad that I really enjoyed. The difference here is that other companies give you frozen soggy mush, it's gross, but these meals taste great, they have great texture, and they're actually real food. And I like that there are hundreds of dishes to choose from.
What is false food? Everything that you can eat is food. Even Mr. Meat from the United States.
So you can opt for different dietary preferences or pick from all these different flavor profiles. So if you too want chef-made meals delivered straight to your door, then click the link in the description or go to cookunity.com/Sydney50 for 50% off your first order. That's right, CookUnity is offering you guys 50% off your first order when you use code Sydney50 at cookunity.com/Sydney50. Now, right out of the gate, these fat Disney park enjoyers get two kinds of responses predominantly. People like me, and probably actually a lot of you, who are alarmed and appalled that we have even gotten to this place in society. These are the people who are extremely critical of these women and the content that they are making. And I think we vary quite a lot. You know, you have the people who are very mean-spirited in their feedback and criticism, and then you have other people who I think
that would be me. That would be me.
Really funny. I saw that a bodybuilder and former Disney employee called Marie Lopez, who also happens to be married to the host of the podcast Revenge of the Cis, she made some funny videos about this that I thought you guys would like to see.
Have you been dying to ride Expedition Everest at Disney World's Animal Kingdom, but you weren't sure if you'd fit? All of us sizes 2X through 5X are able to ride this ride. Those of us who wear sizes 2X through 4X find this ride to be very comfortable. We hope that these tips help and that you don't
See, if you ever take a ride with a overweight person, with a fat person, if you sit on the inside, you're gonna get squashed. I know. I've experienced that. I felt like my bones were broken. I felt like I was about to die, to pass away, because someone was too heavy.
Get snatched by the Disco Yeti. For entrees, Deanna, Katie, and I all got the filet mignon. Deanna got hers with a side of green beans. As you might know, she is on a quest to find the best green beans, but she said that these were just okay. I got mine with béarnaise sauce and a loaded baked potato. I really enjoyed the steak and the béarnaise sauce was so good.
Marie got a salad.
For dessert, Katie got the creme brulee, which was gluten-free.
The juxtaposition is, it's something. Anyway, and probably pretty obviously, the other camp here are the yes queen types that that love to say that this kind of thing is so great because of how inclusive it is.
Can I just say something about the plus size park hoppers really quickly? How evil do you have to actually be to see one of their videos and comment something just heinous? Just something so mean and nasty. Like, these girls, not only are they loving life, sharing their joy.
You shouldn't be mean. Shouldn't. However, I have to say this behavior is still glorifying it, regardless. That doesn't matter. The core issue is that this behavior is glorifying it. Try being on that flight and being between two fat people. I wouldn't know, but Sydney does. She has experienced that. It's like a moving cushion. Crazy.
And happiness, but they're also helping like a major population of people who might find
helping. Everyone was glazing Lizzo. Everyone was like, yeah, queen, you're pretty, yes, go. I have a question though. Everyone says, you go, girl, but would you be that girl? And most of the people would say no. Certainly not.
find it very embarrassing or humiliating to want to be able to go on a ride and then the seat not be inclusive to their size.
And these women get so much hate.
Because it doesn't have to be. Because it doesn't have to be. In a perfect world, you wouldn't have to have inclusive seats for overweight people. In the perfect world. Why is it always women or gay guys? Simple. Because they view overweight people as marginalized when they aren't. When they're just unhealthy. And because these people usually show more sympathy to minorities, that's what you get. Even though fat people technically aren't a minority.
On their videos that's completely undeserved, and some of it is just flat out cruel. You know, I see a lot of comments kind of bullying them for their weight, and the comment that I see all the time is along the lines of like, if you can't fit on a ride, that should be a wake-up call. And that's just wrong to say for a lot of reasons.
That's not wrong to say. If you can't fit somewhere, that is a wake-up call. Remember the bigger lady, the fat lady that went to France and then complained that everything was so small and she couldn't fit anywhere? Yeah, no shit. Who would have guessed? Oh no, it wasn't France. It was Austria, and she couldn't fit anywhere. It was either France or Austria, but she didn't fit through. She had struggled fitting through doorways and all that stuff. Yeah, that is a wake-up call. Because people here in Europe usually don't get that large. They can, but they usually don't.
I think I got more angry watching the Yes Queen videos that were enabling and justifying all of this than the actual plus-size park hoppers themselves. So I'm not sure what that says, but it says something. If you go on Reddit or other forums, you will see people complaining that they...
Reddit? A platform that needs to be under investigation for sure at this point. Yeah, Reddit. That Reddit.
Are overweight and are anxious about going to Disney. So there are a lot of people who like and appreciate what the plus-sized park hoppers are trying to do. They are making theme parks feel more accessible and less
5'3" and almost 300 pounds. How much is that in kg? How much is that? 136 kilograms at 5'3". Bro, what? That's horrible. That is horrible. What is this? He used to watch this lady. She went to an amusement park with her knees. Couldn't fit in all the rides, which was a wake-up call. Lost all that weight. Wow. See? That's how it works.
Anxiety-inducing, I guess, for obese people. And on this front, I can actually understand this argument, because being fat isn't fun, and it sure as hell isn't fun when you are acutely aware of the fact that the world is not designed for people of your size. You know, like when you are a prisoner in your own skin. But let's remember, human beings can absolutely get this big, but we are absolutely not supposed to be. And I think these women and other fat amusement park content people are 100% proof of that. Personally, I hate all of this because I do view it as an attempt to normalize obesity rather than instructing people.
Oh, it's absolutely normalizing. And the reason why I got mad looking at the Yas Queen people is because they're the ones glorifying it. They're the ones enabling it. They're the enablers. Straight up.
And helping people to navigate weight loss and making better choices. Let me show you what I mean. These women have made a bunch of videos explaining how to get your hands on these mobility scooters, due to the fact that when you're fat, walking around is really hard.
Company we trust when it comes to our theme park scooter rental, and that's Gold Mobility. Walking 5 to 10 miles a day can be overwhelming, especially if you're in a larger body or have limited mobility. If you're afraid this will put a damper on your long-awaited vacation, there is absolutely no shame in renting an ECV.
But, and I think it goes without saying, these devices were not designed for fat people. Mobility scooters are for people.
Of course they were designed for fat people. They were designed for people that have trouble walking. Apparently, Ukraine attacked Russia's largest oil terminal. Oh, nah, bro. Well, we're cooked. If it is with European weapons, we're cooked. Hey, was nice knowing y'all. First bomb incoming.
People who are actually disabled, or the elderly, or pregnant women? I don't know, I've never thought about this. Do you guys need mobility scooters? I have to imagine the babies are heavy. I don't know.
I would probably? See, I would assume so. I would assume so, due to the fact that, it depends, right? But if it's not only a larger baby, but if it's like twins or whatever, like many more, then you probably could need one for sure.
These things are not designed for people who have been overeating their entire lives and want an excuse not to walk. In several of their videos about these scooters, they even double up as an ad. Imagine being sponsored by a mobility scooter company because you're too fat to walk long distances. You guys know I am genuinely fine with people on social media making a buck. I am fine with them working with advertisers and sponsors and all sorts of stuff. I get that bag. I'm fine with that. But, you know, on like a serious note, I think that a gym membership is infinitely cheaper than a mobility scooter. And this goes for other things that they report on too.
Long term? For sure. Long term, probably. Long term for everything. Even pregnant women, I've noticed, will walk. Obviously, yeah, but even, like, if you have, like, many more babies, then I could see that being very useful. But I think this is mostly just designed for people who have trouble walking, not for people that have an eating disorder.
Like food. Are you surprised? Probably not. Of course, these women have tons of videos stacking their plates with meals from Disney buffets or other Disney restaurants or just snacks that they got on the go. I mean, being serious for a minute, between the cost of the mobility scooter and all the food, I feel like being really overweight is quite an expensive exercise. I'm genuinely not trying to be mean. I'm just saying. This is another place where I think it would be worth noting for their viewers how many calories they're consuming or how many calories this kind of food has, that eating like this is okay sometimes, you know, when you're on a holiday or, you know, doing something a little bit naughty, but it's not an all the time thing. But rather than acknowledging that and, you know, referencing that maybe there are better food options, they just eat and eat and eat and eat. And it sort of feels reminiscent of this horrible overconsumption culture that we have cultivated as a result, particularly here in the United States, of huge portion sizes, but also turning eating itself into some sort of like online spectacle, so to speak. And if watching this
Sports. Remember, these people that eat their online, right? These people that eat, right? That film themselves eating copious amounts of food. They're oftentimes faking it, right? They're straight up just like eating it and then vomiting it all out. They're taking breaks in sessions. So it's even worse because it's actually just wasted food.
This type of thing makes you uncomfortable, it should, because eating this much and being this overweight is not normal. I also think what makes—
Did you just rob the cheese, the hidden cheese storages of the US? All the cheese bunkers?
Made me extra angry about all of this was this TikTok dietitian's response to this content, where she basically downplays how terrible it is and says that Disney is a once-in-a-lifetime thing, so eat what you want.
Honestly, it looks like a bunch of people enjoying themselves at Disney and trying all of the fun foods on offer. Just like every and any other Disney influencer or even just like Disney goer would be doing.
You're retarded because they're going multiple times.
When I went to Epcot for the first time, my day of eating looked identical to that. And yet no one would give a Disney isn't everyday life. In fact, for many families, it is a once-in-a-lifetime trip. So what you eat at Disney isn't going to be your everyday routine.
Wow, that's so crazy, because this isn't the first time at all that they're trying this food. It's almost like they do this repeatedly, like it's their whole shtick, and they go to these places repeatedly. I don't usually like insulting people directly, but this woman's an idiot. Someone bring her to me so I—
Retarded. Say it! Have the courage, say it! Yeah. And the worst part is, you know what this glorification does? It puts a strain on our healthcare systems, right? That's a big problem, literally. It puts a strain on our healthcare system. Horrible.
I can call her a slur. One of the other things I found out that I genuinely hate about this plus-size park hopping content is complaining about innocuous things that aren't accommodating or accessible to these people. like literal chairs.
The seating here consists of only tables and chairs without arms. In this episode of If I Fits, I Sits, we had dinner at Toledo. This Spanish-inspired restaurant is located in the Grand Destino Tower at Disney's Coronado Springs. The seating here consists of tables with chairs without arms.
These women started an entire series on TikTok called If It Fits, I Sits, and it basically documents whether or not they can fit into chairs. This goes for trans.
That chair is fighting for its life. That chair is fighting and holding on to its dear life.
Transport around the parks as well, like the shuttles taking them to and from the parking lot.
The parking lot tram may not be the most exciting ride of the day, but it is definitely a useful one. Especially if you don't want to get all of your steps in before you even get to the park entrance.
What do you mean if you don't want to get steps in before you go to the park? Even testing out whether or not they fit in the ride seats themselves is a huge part of this kind of content. I found out through making this video that Disney has tester seats where people can go and sit in a fake seat to make sure that they'll fit in the real ones. And I am promising you now, these don't exist because of tall people or short people. They will be here almost exclusively, I am sure, for fat people.
Have you been dying to ride Test Track at Disney World's Epcot, but you weren't sure if you'd fit?
If this continues, somebody is certainly dying. Absolutely. Also, I just saw Ice Spice and another woman twerk on Kaisenat's stream. I have many questions why these people are twerking towards kids. And it's corny as fuck. Anyways.
No, I can fit. I don't need a tester seat. So I sent one of my friends one of the videos that I was using here because I was alarmed after seeing it. And she pointed out the sign in the background of one of the shots that says, "Test this seat before riding. The seating and restraints on this attraction may prohibit some guests of certain body shapes and sizes from riding." Did I not just tell you that this exists exclusively for fat people? This is code for obese people can't fit. So no getting flung around in the air for you. Honestly, I'm glad that they have test seats because I think that it's actually a hazard for obese people to get on theme park rides, but it's genuinely sad that this even needs to be the case. In this video, this guy is trying so hard to push the little securing bar thing down. He's using his entire body. And it's actually not just these plus-sized park hoppers making these seat videos.
Get Princess Peach out of here. Not because she's because she is Princess Peach, but she has the circumference of a peach. If a peach was human-sized.
There are tons of them on social media where people complain about these not being accessible. Fam, they're not supposed to be accessible because you're not supposed to be the size of Maine. So of course, I have two primary issues.
Damn, Sydney! Shots fired. Shots fired. Whoa. Oh my god. You're not supposed to be the size of Maine. That's crazy. That is horrible, bro. That was diabolical. That's a diabolical one.
Here, and the first is safety. Because if you are this fat, I think this is unsafe. If you are trying to ride rides this fat, I think that is hazardous, not only to you, but also to the people around you. A woman on TikTok even told a convoluted story that was a little confusing about how she was put into a ride and fit in there. And she sort of describes how she has a stomach fat flap, and that is what the seat bar was pushed on top of. So when the ride was actually in motion, her stomach flap flipped up over the bar so that she had this big space between her and the bar.
Why describe? Why would you? I would never tell that. I would never tell that. I would keep that until I die. And even then I wouldn't tell that. You wouldn't need. You would have to have me at you would have me at gunpoint, and even then I wouldn't say that.
That was supposed to be holding her in place, and she felt like she was not secured, and she was going to fall out of the ride and die. This is not a description that I ever thought that I'd be giving, but here we are.
Like the fat that I have is like that, the pooch where it's just kind of like an overhang. Do you know what I mean? But underneath that, like I'm skinnier underneath my little pooch, right? And so keep that in mind when you're thinking about this story, okay? Because what happened is that when we get up and we're on that like the little loop that go like it shoots you up really fast, and then you sit up, you're up on this loop right here, and then you go down. when we started to go down, I was not tight enough. Okay, that.
Yeah, what do you expect? What do you genuinely expect? You are fat. You are not supposed to be even in there. You are your own greatest hazard.
Fat that she pushed down on there, my fupa, right? It came loose because I literally sat up in the seat, like my butt was up in the air. That fat went over that bar. So now at this point, there is like a gap from like this much gap from me and the device that's supposed to be holding me in.
And second, and I really mean it when I say that I'm not trying to be mean here, but if you are going to take the time to go to a theme park, especially if, you know, you're flying in or you're driving in or whatever, you're going to go to the theme park, you're going to spend tons of money at that theme park, you're going to do a bunch of walking, you're going to go on the rides, you're going to make memories with your family. Why would you do all of that without putting in the effort to lose a bit of weight so that you can enjoy it better? Why the hell are you expecting the theme park to accommodate you rather than you bettering yourself so that you can have a better time? It genuinely makes me so angry because it screams entitlement, and I'm so sick of entitled people. I can't even imagine spending the time and money to go to a theme park knowing full well the entire time that it's going to be a struggle, and then proudly getting on the internet and informing other people of this struggle like it's somehow everyone else's fault. Interestingly, I also found another account of one of these.
We have a German one too, by the way. We have a German one too. People don't understand how the laws of physics work. Maybe if they have their own gravity, they could understand.
Amusement park fat people, and with relation to not fitting in seats, someone asked him why this isn't a wake-up call. He replied that each time he fails to fit, he promises himself that he'll lose weight, but the quote-unquote motivation never outlasts his hunger. I hate it here. Which honestly makes me just want to throw hands, because dude, what do you mean? I think
You know what's even worse? The people putting getting fat on medication. Fun fact: no medication makes you fat. Not a single one. There's no medication on this planet that makes you fat. There's just one thing, and that's a side effect, which is you are being more hungry. But the medication, it does make you fat directly.
I think the bottom line here is that there is a huge, pun not intended, but welcomed, accountability issue with topics like this, because again, people would rather find tips and tricks to exist in this
Humans in accountability. You're on the wrong planet here. This is Earth.
State of obesity rather than actually making time, effort, and putting energy into losing weight. Also, as a total aside, I can't even imagine getting a job at Disney and expecting that you're going to be dealing with all these cute little kids and then seeing this parade of obese Disney adults and just being like, ugh. To be clear, if you are overweight and you are trying to lose weight, I think you're pretty cool, because that's not easy. Not in a day and age where food is poison and we're sedentary and people act like going to the gym and eating healthy is some sort of wild achievement. So if that is you, more power to you, and I think that is really cool. But as far as these fat amusement park people go, before the woke times crashed into us and consumed us all, people seemed to understand that not everything was made or meant for them. But somewhere along this weird and awful path of
We are lost. We are lost, king of misogyny. Hey. I love equality. I love equality. I don't like both genders. How's your day? I'm doing pretty good. How are you? See, we've been talking about tortas.
fat acceptance and body positivity, we seem to have lost that ancient wisdom. For a lot of fat activists and their allies, there's this idea here that this is all about equality, that fat people, obese people, should be able to enjoy the same things as skinny people, including theme park rides. Personally, I'm not super sure what's enjoyable about having metal bars cutting into your fat rolls while you're thrown about on a ride, but You do you. I'm not sure what's enjoyable about getting vasculitis, because walking around a theme park for a few hours is akin to running a mini marathon for some people. Life is definitely not more or equally enjoyable when you are morbidly obese. It is painful, it is expensive, and yes, you are going to be excluded from doing some things that skinny people can do. And that's not the fault.
And your medical bills are gonna be expensive as well, eventually. Should the hospitals accommodate that as well? You started got something to hide, Poke. Yes. You've been in a dream toast. You've been a child slave in my basement. The more you know.
Of anybody else. No one's oppressing you. Society is not built to oppress you. It's because these people have built prisons out of their own skin. Not the skin, sorry, out of their own fat. Tired me is just envisioning an actual prison, like, built out of fat. And that's horrifying. Ugh. Ultimately, as much as people like this seem to want the world to accommodate them, I think it's pretty clear that they fundamentally lack the desire and motivation to do the things that will better themselves so that they can actually exist in the world normally. In the end, it genuinely upsets me that there is this cohort of people who have deliberately and intentionally handicapped themselves while acting like they are on the same level of equivalence to people who have actual disabilities through no fault of their own, who ask for very little. And while I definitely believe that these people are adults and are free to exist however they so choose, I am incredibly upset by this ongoing...
I don't. We need to tell people straight up that their life is wrong, that their way of living is wrong. With this stupid bullshit of, oh, they're adults, they're allowed to do what they want. No, they're not. No, they're not. There's a lot more to it than just, There's a lot more to it than just, oh, they're just fat. This puts a strain on society, puts a strain on healthcare. It makes some places, it makes things just unsafe in certain situations. They're gonna die early. It's gonna cost people money. That's just the truth. That is just the truth. Sorry.
Attempt to normalize obesity to the wider population. I am sorry that theme parks don't feel like they are accommodating your obesity, but honestly, they probably shouldn't be. Now, on that very happy and pleasant note, and before I open the floor to all of you, this is just a reminder to check out Cook Unity using the link in the description. I am a big fan of the meals that they sent me. I do think that this is one of the better, maybe even the best meal service that I have personally tried, so if this is something that would work for you, absolutely check them out. Now, I open the floor to all of you. What do you all think? Are you on my side of this issue where you think that this plus-size park hopping thing is working to normalize obesity further? Do you think that it's really not that big of a deal and it's just a thing that these girls are doing that they enjoy and they're actually making content that might help other people who are not fat? Although I do agree with that one too. I do think some of this probably helps non-fat people. Do you think that this is a good thing? Do you think that it's a bad thing? Do you think that it's fair that people pick on them all the time? Do you think that they're opening themselves up for this sort of criticism? Do you think that everybody should just leave them alone and let them enjoy themselves? What do you think of theme parks making all of these concessions for fat people? Is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? Should we be trying to push fat people out of these environments and try to kind of unfairly encourage them to lose weight like this? And what do you generally make of this issue overall? As always, if you have made it this far in the video, congratulations.
Pretty much the end of the video. So here's what I believe. Should you mock them? No. Should you criticize the behavior? Yes. Should you criticize the behavior of the people, the enablers, encouraging them? Yes. It should not is bad. We need to make ourselves healthy. Correct, just push them out of parks. I think that you don't need to push them out of parks, but you don't need to accommodate them either. You don't. If they don't fit, they don't fit. Simple. I mean, remember, they're also going to like Europe and complaining that everything's so small. Because the average European doesn't look like the blob. I don't know. Society make everything for every person, small people, large people, dwarf people, or or we... Not everything has to be for you. My hot take is that not everything has to be for everyone. Not everything has to be for everyone. That is my take. The full take. That's how I see it. Not everything has to be for everyone. Same with like games and all the other stuff, right? It just makes sense. Anyways, like, comment, and subscribe.